Hello, I am Srishti Shrestha from Iowa State University, and I'm presenting about my brief paper titled Pre-Service Teachers' Perceptions of Adopting Generative AI Tools in Teaching Mathematics, Insights from a TPACK-based Workshop. This study is a part of my master's thesis advised by Dr. Jiangi. Before I start sharing about our study, let us understand the landscape of generative AI in mathematics education. The integration of generative AI in mathematics education presents new opportunities to enhance teaching and learning. Research has shown that generative AI tools are potentially helpful for multiple applications in math education, such as generating instructional materials, tailoring math tasks for different math and language proficiency levels of students, and providing personalized support to students. While the potential of generative AI to support teachers and students have been widely discussed, several challenges have also been identified that hinder the effective integration of this technology in an educational context, especially in the discipline of mathematics. The concerns over the accuracy of generative AI in generating and evaluating math-related content are widely discussed. Moreover, scholars as well as practitioners fear the risk of students developing over-reliance on these AI tools, consequently diminishing their critical thinking and problem-solving capabilities. Not only that, while the technology is being adopted at an unprecedented rate, there are limited resources to develop proper guidance and training for in-service and pre-service teachers to effectively integrate and monitor the use of generative AI in teaching and learning. Moving on, let us talk about some previous research that has been done in the field that informed our research direction. Research conducted by Yang and Applegate in 2024 highlights a significant gap. Many PhDs simply lack both the training and hands-on experience necessary to effectively utilize generative AI tools in their teaching practices. Interestingly, while many PhDs recognize the pedagogical value of generative AI, they often struggle with its meaningful incorporation into their teaching practices. This discrepancy suggests that knowing about a tool's potential does not automatically translate into using it effectively. That is why it's essential for us to bridge this gap. According to Daher and colleagues in 2021, effective professional development is vital for technology adoption among teachers. It is not just about introducing new tools, it's about providing comprehensive support and training that empowers the teachers to integrate these technologies into their pedagogical framework. Moreover, Guru's 2021 study emphasizes that access to technical support and hands-on learning opportunities significantly boosts pre-service teachers' willingness to adopt new technologies. This indicates that when pre-service teachers feel supported and can engage with technology in a practical, hands-on way, they are much more likely to embrace these innovations. Let us now dive deeper into research that helped us address these challenges and enhance the integration of generative AI in teacher training programs. A study by Ozbek and colleagues in 2023 highlighted that when PhDs are exposed to new technology, either passively, such as reading blogs about it, or actively with hands-on tasks, it leads to a more favorable view of adopting them in their future practices. This initial familiarity can reduce anxiety and build confidence in integrating technology into their classrooms. Moreover, structured learning opportunities in teacher education programs play a crucial role in this process. As noted by Yang and Applegate in 2024, these activities help PhDs recognize the instructional value of generative AI. Not only that, during the study, participating pre-service teachers identified risks around the technology related to teacher agency, reliability, and ethical implications of generative AI technology. Addressing these concerns is vital to ensuring that integration of technology is both effective as well as responsible. TPACK, which stands for Technological, Pedagogical Content Knowledge, is essential for teacher education, particularly for our pre-service teachers. Research has shown that having a strong grasp of TPACK competencies can significantly improve PhDs' abilities to assess and effectively utilize digital tools in their teaching. Additionally, Wang and colleagues illustrate that higher proficiency in TPACK boosts teacher confidence in integrating AI technology in educational contexts. In a study by Daher and colleagues, a course in a teacher education program that incorporated TPACK-focused discussions and that provided practical experiences with technology created a classroom atmosphere that promotes self-efficacy and higher technology acceptance among the teachers. This means that when pre-service teachers engage with technology in their training, they feel more prepared and willing to incorporate similar tools into their teaching practice. In summary, equipping our future educators with TPACK not only boosts their confidence and self-efficacy, but also ultimately prepares them to be effective educators in an increasingly digital world. After the emergence of generative AI technology in 2023, there has been a growing body of research in the area of generative AI in education. However, the research on how pre-service teachers perceive and engage with generative AI tools for instruction is limited. Additionally, there is a gap in research around professional development programs that aim to support pre-service teachers' acceptance of generative AI technology for teaching. Therefore, aiming to fill in this gap, our research is focused on the question, how do PSTs who are participating in a TPACK-based workshop that aims to develop their competencies in integrating generative AI tools for mathematics instruction perceive and use Gen AI tools in educational contexts? Within the study, we provide a structured TPACK-based workshop to pre-service teachers, which is focused in the integration of generative AI in mathematics education. For the participating PSTs, we explore how they perceive and engage with generative AI tools during the workshop, as well as follow-up interviews. Overall, this study aims to provide empirical insights into effective strategies to prepare pre-service teachers to incorporate generative AI tools into mathematics instruction. In this study, we have embedded theoretical frameworks to inform our understanding of appropriate support to pre-service teachers for adopting generative AI in mathematics education. Let's look at them in detail. The first, the Technological Pedagogical Content Knowledge, TPACK framework, which is a comprehensive approach to examine and improve the integration of technology in teaching. TPACK highlights the interaction among three key areas of knowledge: technological knowledge, TK, pedagogical knowledge, PK, and content knowledge, CK. The effectiveness of using technology in teaching relies not only on individual proficiency in these areas, but also on how they are combined in instructional design and delivery. As a well-established model, TPACK has been widely used in teacher education programs to assess as well as assist both pre-service and in-service teachers in developing the skills needed to incorporate digital tools into their teaching practices. As a widely recognized model, TPACK has been extensively utilized in teacher education to evaluate and support pre-service and in-service teachers in developing competencies for integrating digital tools into their pedagogical practices. In 2023, Mishra and colleagues redefined the TPACK framework to reflect the capabilities of generative AI. They emphasize that the generative and interactive features of generative AI require educators to critically reevaluate traditional teaching methods, also assessment strategies and disciplinary knowledge. This study situates itself within the TPACK framework to explore how pre-service teachers navigate the intersections of content, pedagogy, and emerging generative AI technologies. While TPACK offers a robust foundation for understanding technology integration, it lacks specific guidelines on structuring professional development programs. To address this gap, FIG and Jaipal developed the TPACK-based Professional Learning Design Model, or as I call it, TPLDM. This model provides a structured approach for professional development. It guides educators through four essential stages. First, modeling a technology-enhanced activity type. The workshops begins by engaging teachers as learners in a technology-enhanced learning activity, allowing them to experience how students would learn specific content with the tools. This modeling sets the context for understanding the pedagogical decisions behind the use of technology. The second we have is integrating pedagogical dialogue. Here, the facilitator engages the participants in discussions about the interplay between pedagogy, content, and technology. These dialogues help teachers understand the rationale behind the model activity and encourage them to think critically about their instructional practices. Next, we have developing technical skills through short tool demonstrations. Here, participants receive targeted technical skill training relevant to the technology used in the modeled activity. This element focuses on the practical aspects of using these technology tools, ensuring that teachers are comfortable and competent in their use. Finally, we have applying TPACK to design their own tasks. So here, participants design and implement their own technology-enhanced tasks based on the knowledge that they gained from the workshop. This hands-on application reinforces learning and also encourages the teachers to integrate technology meaningfully into their teaching practices. This structured approach has been proven effective in boosting both the competence and confidence of educators in K-12 and university settings when it comes to integrating technology into their teaching practices. By using the TPACK-based professional learning design model, TPLDM, we can transform how teachers incorporate technology into their classrooms, ultimately enhancing educational outcomes for our students. Now let us look at the methodological approach adopted for this study. The TPLDM workshop was conducted with pre-service teachers enrolled in a 4-year teacher preparation program at a large public university in the Midwest United States. I delivered 90-minute workshops as a facilitator in 2 courses in this program. The first workshop took place in a K-12 mathematics methods course attended by 12 pre-service teachers. The second course was centered on learning technologies, specifically emphasizing technology integration in STEM education, which included 29 PSTs spread across 2 sections. Overall, I had 41 pre-service teachers attending these 3 workshops. 28 participants voluntarily participated in the study. The sample included 8 male and 20 female pre-service teachers. Participants represented different academic levels. There were 6 sophomores, 12 juniors, 8 seniors, and 2 master's students. The workshop was designed to enhance pre-service teachers' skills in integrating generative AI tools with their pedagogical and content knowledge through structured activities aligned with the TPLDM model. The session began with a simulation of students' interaction with Khanmigo, which is a generative AI-powered tutoring tool in Khan Academy. This allowed pre-service teachers to critically examine the tool's advantages and limitations in supporting problem solving in mathematics. Next, there were structured pedagogical discussions in which PSTs reflected individually and then in groups on how generative AI tutors can facilitate differentiation in mixed ability classrooms as well as their potential drawbacks. Following this, pre-service teachers were shown live demonstrations of several tools, including ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, and Anthropic Claude Sonnet. These demonstrations showcased how to use these tools to support instruction by generative interactive math problems, modifying problems for scaffolding, creating visual aids, and designing hints for problem solving. Finally, the PSTs engaged in a hands-on design task where they used a generative AI tool of their choice to create instructional materials aligned with specific learning objectives. The pre-service teachers' individual reflections on the discussion prompts and images that captured hands-on activities were collected from 24 participating pre-service teachers during the workshop. The pre-service teachers responded individually and discussed with peers for 3 prompts. First, how can Khanmigo facilitate differentiation for mixed ability classes? The second prompt was, what could be some drawbacks to students engaging with generative AI bots like Khanmigo? The third was, how are generative AI tools being used by teachers for mathematics instruction? Additionally, 5 pre-service teachers participated in follow-up semi-structured interviews to expand on their experiences and perceptions of integrating generative AI in educational contexts. Interviews lasting 40 to 60 minutes were audio recorded and transcribed for analysis. The interviews explored the pre-service teachers' perceived benefits and challenges of using generative AI in educational contexts and their pedagogical considerations regarding generative AI-assisted instruction. A thematic analysis was performed on the responses from workshop discussions and interview transcripts guided by the TPACK framework. We began with an open coding phase using the TPACK framework as a guiding lens. Then we grouped similar codes together, consequently identifying overarching themes. This approach helped us understand how pre-service teachers perceive, interact with, and adapt generative AI tools in mathematics education contexts. To protect participants' confidentiality, we used pseudonyms in place of their real names. The findings reveal a dual sentiment of enthusiasm and skepticism among the PSTs towards generative AI as a pedagogical tool. The workshop experience enhanced their understanding, exposing new instructional possibilities and gaps in their preparedness. 4 major themes were identified that portray their perspectives: self-confidence in generative AI integration, and the need for structured guidance in teacher education programs. Pre-service teachers identify generative AI as a useful tool that saves time in lesson planning, differentiation, and the creation of engaging instructional materials. During the workshop, 35 responses were collected on pre-service teachers' thoughts about how they think in-service teachers use generative AI tools for mathematics instruction. Their responses were analyzed and presented in a word cloud, which highlights the most common ways pre-service teachers perceive the use of generative AI in math teaching. Many PSTs view generative AI as an efficiency booster that enables them to focus more on student engagement instead of getting overwhelmed by repetitive administrative tasks. Despite acknowledging generative AI's potential instructional benefits, the pre-service teachers also raised concerns about its pedagogical effectiveness and ethical implications. Many pre-service teachers questioned generative AI technology's accuracy, noting that generative AI-generated math content sometimes contain logical errors requiring human oversight. Ethical concerns such as data privacy, misinformation, and academic dishonesty were frequently discussed. A generative AI enhanced learning activity was modeled during the workshop using Khanmigo, as illustrated in the figure shown. In this activity, the generative AI tool directly provided the answer rather than facilitating the learning process through guiding questions. Many pre-service teachers showed concerns that this flawed tendency of the generative AI powered tutor. Additionally, the PSTs also worried that the students might resort to immediately using the tool instead of attempting the problems on their own, leading to over-reliance, reduced student agency, and diminished critical thinking skills. The pre-service teachers showed different levels of self-confidence and readiness to use generative AI in their teaching. Some shared that they were able to critically evaluate and improve the outputs from generative AI, while others felt unsure about their skills. However, all the pre-service teachers thoughtfully considered how generative AI could impact student learning. Despite their varying degrees of experience and confidence, they all felt that with hands-on classroom experience, they could effectively incorporate generative AI into their math instruction. Although the pre-service teachers had been introduced to generative AI tools in their teacher education programs, all of the interviewed PSTs felt that the formal training on integrating generative AI into their teaching was inadequate and lacked practical guidance. The workshop provided an opportunity for some PSTs to engage in hands-on activities with Gen AI tools and explore application areas that prompted deeper discussions about pedagogy. The PSTs expressed a desire for a more structured learning on how to effectively integrate generative AI into curriculum-aligned lesson planning and classroom activities. Another significant concern was institutional uncertainty, as many PSTs were unsure whether their future school districts would support the use of generative AI. Finally, let's summarize our findings and discuss their implications. PSTs in this study acknowledged the benefits of generative AI for lesson planning, differentiation, and instructional material generation, which is consistent with previous research. The PSTs expressed apprehensions about generative AI's appropriateness for student learning. The TPACK-based workshop provided a structured environment where the PSTs actively experimented with generative AI's various instructional applications and critically reflected on its strengths as well as limitations. The workshop also prompted the PSTs to critically evaluate their AI collaboration capabilities to moderate the AI-generated content and their pedagogical decisions. While the study offered valuable insights, a single workshop is insufficient to develop deep and sustained competence among the PSTs. That's why longitudinal studies and long-term professional development initiatives are essential for effectively embedding generative AI into pedagogical practice. Future studies should investigate how pre-service teachers' attitudes, confidence, and competencies in using generative AI evolve over an extended period of time. So these are the references that I used in the study. Thank you so much for listening. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop down questions and comments, or maybe later email me about the research. I would love to talk to you further on this.